in motivation, oftentimes people don't really have insights into what motivates you. And so the challenge becomes, how do you study those motivations? Not only don't they have insights, which many of you know, they actually have the wrong insight. So if you ask people, and we have done this, if you had a treadmill at home, would you work out more or would you work out less, as opposed to if you had to go to a gym? As you can imagine, majority of the people say I would work out more if I had a treadmill at home. But if you look at the data, they actually tend to work out less. And the reason is, when they're answering that question, what motivates me, they're thinking, oh, if the treadmill's at home, it's so easy to do the treadmill, whereas I have to go to a gym. What they're not thinking about when they answer that question is, well, when I'm at home, I have too many other competing distractions. But once I'm at the gym, there's nothing really else to do but get on the damn treadmill. If you look at products like the 100-calorie packs, and they're a small part of the snack business, it's not a huge part of most people's portfolio, but it really started long ago at Mars, many, many years ago, when they launched the miniature candy business. What they noticed is the motivation is, for a lot of people, is to not eat too much of these things. What's fascinating to me about the motivation story here is what my friend, one of my colleagues who looked at cigarettes in a similar way, if there are any people in the room who smoke, and or you have friends who smoke, they'll often not buy stuff at duty free, even though it's like a tenth of the price, because they think it'll increase their consumption. Do they have any data that buying it by packs actually lowers consumption, that they smoke less? And often you find the data is that it doesn't do that. But what happens here is, I'm willing to give you, the marketer, a premium to give me less of something I like too much, right? I like it so much that I don't want to have so much of it, but I'll pay a price premium so that you give me less of it. Because that's what the 100-calorie snacks are. The price per ounce is much higher than what you would if you bought a large pack. So it's an interesting story around sort of how do you take unstated motivation and the action to understand what the insights might be. Telling people taking stairs is good all the time, nothing happened. But if you put in front of the elevators, please take the stairs, which is at the moment of time I'm about to take the elevator, somebody told me, hey, why don't you take the stairs? It was much more effective. So how do you get people at the moment of truth, if you like? It's much more effective. You will get a much more big bang for your communication budget than you typically do. When we shop, we have very different goals in mind. Most of us, when we looked at the research, the goals were around price and health and how the hell do I get out of here. When you're consuming a product, you have very different goals. I just finished writing a report. What do I want to do? I want to have a nice, relaxing beverage. Or it sits in the evening, my goal is different. It's 8 in the morning, my goal is different. Those are different goals when you're consuming something or when you're using something. When you're buying something, those are very different goals. The second idea, which sort of related to the first idea, that consumers have goals, but consumers have conflicting goals. You want to socialize, but you want to do well professionally. You want to save, but you want to spend. When people have conflicting goals, they try to balance. They have something good with something bad. I want to have my chocolate. I want to have my pizza with some Diet Coke. So we did this study. When you have pizza, Diet Coke, how guilty do you feel compared to pizza? So you had 2 slices of pizza, nothing else, or you had 2 slices of pizza and a Diet Coke. And people feel much less guilty when they had the same, more calories, or certainly not as healthy, but they had a Diet Coke with it. It's like people who insist on having low-fat crackers when they have giant amount of cheese in between that, right? Just feels good. I kind of did a little bit of my, doesn't have to be equal amount I do with good and bad, but that the mind plays tricks enough that I feel like that. But this whole idea of balancing is important because people bundle things all the time. Whereas if you think about need states as, oh, some people eat healthy, some people eat unhealthy, I need to segment the market, give them really healthy stuff, really unhealthy stuff, and treat them separately, you often miss out that all of us sort of engage in both.